How will my business benefit future generations? Start thinking bigger, start thinking beyond the salaries, start thinking beyond the rent, start thinking beyond the land and the entities and the apartments that you want to build. Start thinking beyond the small family that you have and ask things. How will my business benefit future generations from now?
Welcome to another day of growth with Moses.
The other kind of conversation that you should actually be having as a person who runs a business is what I call the legacy conversation. Leaving something that outlives you. Legacy isn't just what you have behind, it's what lives on because of you. Whether you want it or not, you're building a legacy. Whether you're intentional about it, whether you are not intentional about it. Everyone that is Googleable, you're going to see the legacy. You're going to see that while such and such a person lived, this is what they were in position to do. So if you know that your call is in the world of work, your call is in the world of business, your call is in the place of entrepreneurship, you need to have a conversation on legacy creation. You need to have the legacy conversation. It has to be in your head. It has to be with the people that care about you, with the people that matter to you. We are basically not navigating through, We are here to build a thing that will sustain us, but then leave it behind so that other generations are impacted. We are here to save some people the pain of redigging the wells. We are here to dig the wells that will be deep enough so that those after us will not actually dig the wells. They'll actually be building the wells. One of the conversations that I had with one person that is close to me, he was only telling me about Kakira Sugar Works. And he's like, this company has been in Uganda for probably 50 plus years, 60 plus years. And he was telling me that 100 years ago, when the founders of Kakira Sugar, when the founders of Meta Sugar Corporation came, they had a vision of 100 years. All they did at that time, when the world did not have the technology we have today, is that they bought square miles of land. They bought miles and miles and square miles of land. Even when at that particular point, probably the population of Uganda was probably 8 million. It was a small country. Today we are like 46 million plus. But because 100 years ago, an Indian man came and he's like, you know what, I'm going to manufacture sugar. The population might be less, but what we are going to do in these years of infancy, in our early years in this region of East Africa, we are going to buy land. We're going to buy it cheaply. We may not develop it now, but if we built it, if we put it in place very well, probably 100 years from now, something better is actually going to come out of it. The kids, the generations that will come after us will find it well. So, as a person who is running a business currently, you must be having that conversations on legacy. You must have the legacy conversation. You must be thinking. You must be asking yourself, how big is my vision? What's the time frame of my vision? Is your vision limited to only 5 years from now? What are you seeing 100 years from now? What are you seeing 20 years from now? Because when you're seeing something 10 years from now or 20 years from now, the people that will be here 20 years from now will actually also see 20 years from there now. And probably that will be like 40 years from now. So the legacy conversation is another conversation that you actually should be having as a person that did what? As a person that started a business. We are briefly around here, Some of the people that you know, some of the people that I know, they left at 40, others left at 45, others left at 50. And recently I saw Jimmy Swaggart leaving at 90, 98, 90, something like that. So we don't know how long, but at least we know that we are here. And we need to make the best use of our now. So it is better to function today with a legacy in mind. It is better for us to function with this legacy, with like I'm building something bigger. Again, this conversation is majorly for people that are running an entity, running an organization, running a business. If you don't run a business, it doesn't mean you're not building a legacy. Sometimes a legacy is as simple as raising your family well. Sometimes legacy is as simple as raising your daughters, raising your sons well. It's not a must that everyone is actually going to start a business and run a business. This pain is literally for everyone. This call is not for everyone. Sometimes your call is going to be like, I'm going to go through life, going to raise these kids, and it is these kids that will have the call of business, the call of founding things. So it's not a must that legacy has to be looked at as 100 years from now. I'm building this. This conversation is basically for individuals that have that call. And I speak these things irrespective of your age. Sometimes we say things like, I won't share these things because I'm not qualified enough. But you see, the big business guys that I see lately, they have a lot of things to share, but they don't have the time to share it. Some of us that have deliberately chose to literally breastfeed from them and sit under them and be raised by them, we are deliberately taking a few baby steps in trying to share some of the things that we are learning. So if you're running an entity, the legacy conversation is a conversation you can't afford to run away from. It is one of the conversations that will actually solidify your why. And a few guiding questions here you should be asking are things like, how do I want to be remembered by my team, my customers, my family, by the people that will read about me? How would I be remembered? How would I like to be remembered? Like, I'm doing all these entire things, but exactly how would I want to be remembered? Second guiding question would be, what values or principles do I want to pass on? What values, what principles do I want to pass on to the next generation? I'm impressed by the values that I see in the Indian community. They are kind of the masters of family businesses because business has been in their blood. That the grandfather passed it on to the father and the father is passing it on to the next generation. The question, what values or principles do I want to pass on? When you look at the young Indians that have received something from their elders, from their grandfathers, I mean, they are not only running a company that was passed over to them, they are running something of value. They are running on principles. They are running on principles and values that were passed on, the values of hard work, the values of creativity, the values of thinking, the values of business in general, you know. So that is another guiding question. The other guiding question is, how will my business benefit future generations? If you run a business, it's very important for you to start thinking bigger, to start thinking beyond the salaries, start thinking beyond the rent, start thinking beyond the land and the entities and the apartments that you want to build, start thinking beyond the small family that you have and ask things, how will my business benefit future generations from now? It is a good country. Your country is a good country because of men that decided to put in sweat and build a framework, which framework can actually suck in graduates, and graduates can have a meaningful work because men like you stood and built businesses and brands that have stood the test of time. The other guiding question for you as you're thinking about legacy is, have I created systems that will endure after me? The other question is, how will my business benefit future generations? How have I communicated my intentions clearly to the people that are involved? Now, when things are clear in your mind as a founder, in your mind as a co-founder, when things are clear, you have to make sure that you deliberately communicate this, see who fits and who doesn't fit, because we are doing this for a long run. We are not here to just run around. We are here for something bigger than us. So the question, have I communicated my intentions clearly to the people that are involved, to my leaders, to my small leaders, Now, what I'm saying applies to you, whether you are small, whether you're beginning, whether you've been running for the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years, whatever. The issue is, think big of whatever you're running, because the reality of the matter that everything big that has ever been birthed started small. That's why people say, do not underestimate the years of small beginnings, because even great men, once upon a time, they were babies, they were toddlers. Have I communicated my intentions clearly to the people that are involved? Am I empowering others or enabling dependency? As you're running this entity, are you empowering others, or you're just building a monarchy where everything is dependent on you? You're the queen, the king, you are like the small god of your business. What exactly? Am I empowering others, or am I enabling dependency? It all depends on you. If it doesn't depend on you, then it won't move. What role does philanthropy or community service play in my legacy? Important question. Have I created a succession and an estate plan for continuity? Important question. Are there unresolved relationships or debts that I need to address? Important question. What story will people tell about me and this business? Now, there are just a lot of things, but most important thing is to get the core. The core of the conversation is legacy. The core of the conversation is the legacy conversation. It's basically another conversation that you should have as a person that runs a business. Now, I hope this helps. This is just a lot of content that I'm actually putting up. Crazy number of conversations that you should be having as an entrepreneur, as a business owner. My prayer is that some of these things you find them insightful. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on another day of Growth with Moses. If you would like access to more episodes, please subscribe to this channel. And if you enjoyed this episode, help us share and spread word about it. Till next time, we meet again on another day of Growth with Moses.